Hi, everyone. Welcome to the City of Albany's Energy Efficiency for Homeowners webinar. I'm going to give us a few minutes for attendees to join on, and while we're waiting, I'm going to launch a really short poll for everyone. Hi, everyone who's just joined. We're just waiting for a couple minutes to get everyone a chance to join on. But we have a really short poll for everyone to fill out if they'd like before we get going. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started now. I'm gonna go ahead and share the results of the poll quickly. I hope everyone can see that. Looks like most of the attendees are in single family homes, but we have a few in duplexes, condos, and a couple in apartment buildings too. So I'm just going to start with some quick introductions and a little bit of info about this webinar for everyone. My name is Michelle Plaus. I'm the Community Development Analyst here at the City of Albany. And I'm just going to go around and let everyone introduce themselves quickly. So I'll start with Yessie.
Hi everyone, so I'm Yesenia Vargas, Jessie for short. I'm a community representative with Energy Upgrade California, the state's educational campaign around energy efficiency.
Thanks, Yessie. And Chris?
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Hunter. I work with Stop Waste, which is a public agency in Alameda County, but today I'm here on behalf of BayREN. And so I'll explain what both of those are in a little bit.
Thanks, Chris. Dante?
Hi, my name is Dante Alnes Benson. I'm the outreach coordinator for Rising Sun, which is a
Sorry, we lost you a little at the end there, Dante, but I think you were saying Rising Sun is a nonprofit.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit based in Oakland, California. And we'll talk a little bit more about our programming in a moment.
Thanks, Dante. And Dan?
Hey, this is Dan Lieberman. I'm with East Bay Community Energy. We're another public agency here in the Bay Area serving electricity throughout Alameda County into the city of Tracy. And happy to be presenting today.
Thanks, Dan. And finally, Lizzie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lizzie Crod. I'm the Sustainability Coordinator with the City of Albany.
All right. So everyone, today we are going to do a presentation first. That'll be about 40 minutes, and then we'll have about 20 minutes at the end for questions. We don't have a chat feature on this webinar, so please put your questions into the Q&A, and we can answer those both written, and also we'll have time to verbally answer lots of questions at the end, but you can go ahead and put questions in there at any time during the presentation. And we will be finished by 6 o'clock. So thanks so much for spending the first part of your evening here with us today. And I will go ahead and have Lizzie pull up our presentation.
Can you all see my screen?
Looks great.
Great.
All right, Yessie,
All
kick us
right.
off.
Got it. So, hi everyone, thanks again for joining us. Subject of today's webinar is pretty much energy efficiency at home. You may have found that over the past year, it's been, a little difficult to be environmentally friendly. And so we really hope this is something that can, help the environment and help everyone's wallets. So next slide. So I'm not sure if you've heard of Energy Upgrade California. There is a lot of alphabet soup agencies throughout the state to keep track of. But to kind of sum us up very quickly, we're a statewide initiative under the California Public Utilities Commission. And our mission is basically to encourage all Californians to be more energy efficient. Next slide. And here's a quick summary video of kind of our messaging. And so, yeah, a lot of the messaging is centered here around, everyone kind of doing their part. So we really want to break this out into manageable things that people can do on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't have to be huge things like installing solar panels. Obviously, that's great. But we really focus on the behavioral side of things. So what we do on a statewide level is we partner with groups like cities, like nonprofits, chambers of commerce, for events, educational programs, holiday celebrations, pre-plague, all of that to kind of just bring this information to California residents. And so that means, providing materials sometimes or providing expertise, so community representatives like myself to join these kinds of events. Next slide. And so you may have seen over the past year, it's been very difficult with the transition to a lot of people staying at home now for, work is from home, school is from home, recreation during, the time of lockdown was also from home. And so
Yessie, you've frozen a little bit for us. Hopefully she can unfreeze.
We'll give her a couple seconds and then we can attempt to paraphrase Yessie's slides for her. Looks like we may have lost Yessie. Michelle, do you want to go through her slides quickly and then we can circle back at the end?
Yeah, I can do that. So yes, as Yessie was saying, everything is from home nowadays. As we all know, it's very clear as we are right now on this webinar, which means that there's a lot of opportunities to save energy at home since you're using all of your energy at home now. It's not just at the office. And so, you know, reusable everything is optimal, especially things we use a lot of now, like face masks and wipes and towels. Putting your washer on the cold cycle is a great option. Does, you know, just the same amount of cleaning. And then the HVAC systems in your home, the heating and cooling, it's really good to clean and replace those really often, especially if you have pets. Makes them run much more efficiently. And so you can heat and cool your house for a lot less money and a lot less energy. So another great thing you can do is a home energy audit. And as you can see here, there's lots of different things you can check throughout your home just to kind of see where you're using your energy and where you could potentially save energy. So things like the temperature in your house, you know, how high are you setting your thermostat, especially on those cold or hot days? Are there ways that you can keep it at an even temperature, especially something like 68 is really good to make sure you're not using more energy than you need to. Keeping your fan circulating to keep the house cool instead of just, you know, putting on the AC. Cleaning the air filters, like I said a moment ago. Water heaters are also a huge energy user that we don't usually think about that often. You can actually turn down the maximum heat on the water heater to 120. That'll save a lot of energy every time you do the dishes and run the bath. And you can insulate your water heaters as well, so you're not losing energy that's just kind of going off of the water heater itself just by buying a water heater blanket. It's a pretty cheap and very effective way to save energy. Turning off lights, as we all know. Oh, Yessie's back. I'll let you take it from here. I was just talking about turning off lights.
But thanks for carrying on. So yeah, this is part of our home energy audit, one of the various resources we offer. It's very useful for you to be able to check off, you know, what am I already doing? What more can I do? And that way, you know, kind of build from there. So everyone has their individual energy journey to take. And I suppose we can go to the next slide. This goes into a little bit more detail on some of these tips. I know it's kind of hard to see like that huge list. So for instance, you know, setting your thermostat to 68 or lower in winter and 78 or higher in summer is a way to conserve a lot of energy. So typically the largest energy usage of most households comes from HVAC, which is heating and cooling, and lighting. And so those are two things that are like pretty crucial to focus on when it comes to saving energy and energy efficiency. So as Michelle was mentioning, you can set your water heater to 120 and add insulation. And those are very simple blankets to improve energy efficiency. And something that's often overlooked is filters. So having, you know, dirty filters actually makes your system work a lot harder. It works less efficiently. And so work to either clean or replace them depending on what kind of system you have, typically every 6 months, but every 3 months if you have pets. And you'll find this is also great for, you know, air quality. Right, next slide. And as I mentioned, HVAC and lighting are the two biggest usage. So when it comes to lighting, just being aware of lights in unoccupied rooms is huge. Checking with your energy provider, and you know, my co-presenters will talk about this, but ways that you can switch to sensors, timers, and dimmers for your lights and appliances. That way you always know that, it's only going to be on when you need it. And then there's appliances called energy vampires. So essentially things that use energy even when they're turned off but plugged in. So you might think, okay, my coffee maker's off. It's not using energy, but it's still plugged in. And as an energy vampire, it is still actually using small amounts of energy, which add up. So typically speaking, it's going to be things that have an LED display or lights that are energy vampires. So just make sure to unplug those or use a smart strip. That way you don't have to worry about that. Next slide. And as I mentioned, Energy Upgrade California is here as a resource. So the home energy audit that you saw part of on these earlier slides, it's available for download at our website, just energyupgradecacommunity.org. We'll also circulate it after this webinar through the City of Albany. You can sign up for text reminders and challenges at our website as well. And so it's this new text tool called Goldie, essentially lets you know, hey, 18 million Californians are taking this weekend's challenge of, washing with tap cold so that you don't have to, spend energy heating water. So things like that. And it'll kind of like connect you to that community and let you know, together what kind of impact are you having for California. And next slide. So a couple of other things, and my co-presenters will really elaborate this a little bit more, but two things we want to stress are the California alternate rates for energy. So this is the CARE program, and it can take up to 20% off your monthly energy bills. It's according to income eligibility. So about 34K annually is how you qualify. Medical baseline, it's another discount program through your utility company. And so this one means that if you depend on power for medical or independent living needs, that you get a discount that way. Now, normally this requires a signature each year that you renew it through a qualified medical practitioner. But through the end of 2021, you can actually just self-certify because of restrictions around COVID-19. So we really do encourage you to take advantage of either of these if you think you're eligible. And next slide. And so again, on our website, you can see kind of a lot of the individual stories. These are actually videos if you go and click on them. But you can see the individual stories of, both residents, homeowners, small businesses, even nonprofits and government officials, actually, cities. That have adopted energy efficiency and what their journey was. Again, it's something we like to emphasize that it really starts on the behavioral side, that you don't have to go for like huge expensive retrofittings, that it can really just start with being more aware of how you use energy. And yeah, next slide. And so here are our websites. Again, we'll circulate this information after the webinar, and you'll have links to the information that we provide here. But just as a resource, here are our sites here, including ours, and we're also all active on social media. And I'll let my co-presenters take it away from here.
Thank you. Yes, we're so glad we got you back. And yes, like she said, we'll be sending out all of the links and resources, the slides, and also a recording of this webinar later on. So next we have Chris, who's going to tell us about Stop Waste and BayREN.
Great. Thank you so much, Michelle and Yessie. That was great. So yeah, as I said, my name is Chris Hunter. I'm with Stop Waste, and hopefully a lot of you are familiar. If you're not, we are a public agency that serves Alameda County, its 14 cities, as well as 2 sanitary districts. And as the name suggests, we started, and still a lot of our work revolves around solid waste reduction, and we really have the goal of landfill obsolescence. But our work goes well beyond that. So we work with beyond the solid waste, we do a lot of work around food waste reduction. We do environmental education. We support our city staffs like Albany. And then we also do some work around green buildings and energy efficiency. So that's the team that I'm on. And if you can go to the next slide. Stop Waste, through our energy efficiency work, we are the Alameda County representative of the Bay Area Regional Energy Network, or BayREN. So sorry, it's a lot of acronyms, but BayREN is a collaboration of the 9 counties that make up the Bay Area. You can see the map on the right there. And the mission of BayREN is to really help the state meet its climate goals through providing energy saving programs for residents, businesses, as well as doing trainings and educational work with local governments, contractors, real estate professionals. And so we really try to provide this at a regional scale and provide programs that the PG&E programs and the local city programs don't quite fill the gaps. So we're here to fill some of those gaps and save you all money. And all of the funds for BayREN come through a little charge on your PG&E bill every month called the Public Purpose Program Surcharge. It's a couple dollars a month. That goes to the state, and they reallocate it back to us to provide these programs. So that's how I always say is you're basically already paying for this, and we just want you to be able to take advantage. So you can go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we work with a whole range of different people. So single family homes, multifamily homes, businesses. Our single family program is called Home Plus. And these are, even though it's centered around energy efficiency, these are all the different issues in the home that our program tries to address. And these are all really interconnected. And we try to take a holistic approach. So for example, I'm sure everyone has dealt with some of these in a place they lived or live right now. You might have an old and inefficient furnace, it makes a lot of noise, drives your energy bill up, and really doesn't do that much to keep you warm or cool. Maybe part of the problem that your furnace doesn't work well is your house is really leaky and has a lot of air drafts that can keep you cold in the winter and hot in the summer. And it can actually get beyond comfort and really have some health issues. So if you have air leaks or if your air ducts aren't properly sealed, you can get moisture, which can lead to mold, mildew, can make a really good environment for pests, which can lead to more asthma. You can get dust and wildfire smoke in. And so by targeting energy efficiency, we're not only talking about reducing your energy bill, but also improving the comfort of your home and the health of the air inside your home as well. And we really try to promote projects that have multiple pieces. So for example, instead of only doing your furnace, trying to think maybe doing your attic insulation, your wall insulation at the same time as your furnace, so you can actually install a smaller furnace and it doesn't have to work as hard. So really thinking through your home in that way from a systems point of view is much more effective than just targeting, putting Band-Aids on whichever issue you notice first. So you can go forward. So in terms of what the program actually offers, there's a few things. The centerpiece and the main selling point of the Home Plus program is the rebates. So we offer up to $5,000 in rebates for upgrades to your home. There's a full list. It's a single measure rebate. So just each measure that you install has a specific rebate that is associated with that. I'm not going to go through that whole list right now. Hopefully we can send that out after the meeting. But it covers everything from insulation to air sealing, upgrading your furnace, air conditioning, and water heating systems, as well as some appliances like induction cooktops and heat pump dryers. And then there's a few, I'm going to walk through these other resources. So if you go to the next slide. So if you're in that place where you saw some of those problems I put out on that other slide, and some of those resonated with you, but you don't really know what's causing them, you have no idea where to start, a great place to start is the Home Energy Score. So this is another program that BayREN offers, and it's actually developed by the US Department of Energy. And the Home Energy Score, it's basically like, it's a home assessment. So you'll get a qualified assessor to walk through of your home. They'll look at everything from your appliances to your windows, insulation, and you'll get a score from 0 to 10. And you can think of it like a miles per gallon sticker for your house, where 10 is the most efficient, 1 is the least efficient. And they'll also provide you a report with some personalized recommendations for what you can do to improve your score. So there's a $200 rebate associated with this that covers most, if not all, of the cost of the assessment. And so you can find an assessor and learn more at that website. But again, this is a really great place to start. And next slide, please. And then the home energy advisor, I like to say, if you only write down one thing during my presentation here, make it this phone number and email address. So the home energy advisor, this is a great resource. It's a call line that you can call or email. And there's a whole team of experts. They're really experts in home efficiency, in all of the different programs that are out there. And so they can help you with anything from selecting a contractor, identifying a problem in your home, comparing quotes from 2 different contractors, or referring you to other programs that are out there that might be able to save you money. And they're independent, unbiased. They do not earn a commission from this. So they're really only here to be a resource to you. So again, I would always recommend giving this number a call. If you have any questions about your house, about how to get started in this process, this is a really, really great resource. And you can go to the next slide. And then the other big resource that the Home Plus program offers is a network of trained participating contractors. So we do actually require that to receive a rebate, you have to complete the work through a contractor that's enrolled in our program. And the reason we do that is mostly just to verify that they do good work. When they enter the program, they go through some trainings to make sure that they understand energy efficiency, that they understand the rebate process. And so they're vetted, you know they do good work, and they actually will end up handling all of the rebate paperwork on your behalf. So you'll just have to sign a few things. And there's a full list. We have about 50 or 60 that are currently active in Alameda County. And so you can go to this link down at the bottom of the screen and filter by Alameda County and filter by which work you want done, and see which contractors are active in your area. And then next slide. Yeah, so this is just to give an overview. So if you, this is the standard process that people go through to receive a Home Plus rebate. So a lot of times it would start with speaking with a home energy advisor, just getting an understanding for what you might want to do. You can get the home energy score to really dig in, get a really better idea of the specific context of your house. And then from there, you'd select the contractor, install the upgrades. If you install any new gas appliances, they will have to do a combustion appliance safety test to make sure that there's no gas leaks or backdrafts. And then from there, you'll get your rebate check in the mail. So it's a pretty simple, straightforward process. And you can go to the next slide. And then here's just some links to get started. And so I think we'll send the slides out after the fact. And so you can get my email address and all these links through that. And I'm happy to answer any other questions. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. Yes, again, we'll be sending out all the contact info afterwards. And I'll also just note for our panelists here, if you see any questions in the Q&A that are quick answers, feel free to type answers to them as we go. And next up, we have Dante, who's going to tell us about Rising Sun.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for having me, and thank you all for joining us today. So my name is Dante Benson. I'm the Outreach Manager for Rising Sun Center for Opportunity, based here in Oakland, California. Rising Sun's a nonprofit organization committed to partnering with underrepresented communities for job opportunities and training, while tackling the issue of climate change, which affects marginalized communities the worst. We do that through 2 programs. One of them is called Opportunity Build, the other is Climate Careers. Opportunity Build is an adult industry certification or certified construction training program, providing a path to union apprenticeship in skilled trades. And this program is a 10 to 12 weeks hands-on training that happens in Oakland and offers 12 months of one-on-one job placement and retention support. This program isn't really something we're going to talk about too much today, but if you're interested in learning more, please check us out on our website. But we're going to be talking about the other program that Rising Sun offers, which is the Climate Careers program, which does something called a greenhouse call. And that's a resource made available thanks to our partnership with BayREN, which Chris Hunter just spoke about. So since 2000, Climate Careers has operated as a highly innovative youth empowerment program addressing climate change by employing 15 to 22-year-olds to provide energy efficiency services to over 50,000 residences across the Bay Area. You can keep going on the slides. We have 3 more little windows are going to pop up. Thank you. So through the Greenhouse Call program, prior to the pandemic, this is the model we were running. Youth were trained and paid to visit homes of community members such as yourselves in order to do quick water and energy efficiency retrofits, which includes exchanging incandescent CFL light bulbs with LEDs, installing smart power strips, which is something we, Yessie talked a little bit about. We have like vampire power. And then continuing to educate clients on behavioral changes they can make, and also doing a similar kind of assessment that BayREN does, but not to the level and degree that BayREN completes. This program is also no cost to the homeowner or whoever is in the household, because as it's a BayREN program, it's already paid through your PG&E bill. So it does help lower your water and energy bill, and reduces a home's carbon footprint, while also giving young people a great opportunity for a decent paying summer job and an opportunity to learn more about climate related issues and do some professional development. Excuse me. The climate or the greenhouse call program is available for renters and homeowners regardless of income. Although we don't service to apartment buildings, trailers, or commercial spaces. We can go to the next slide. And we can keep going. There's some other bubbles going to pop up. So, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we aren't sending young people into households. So we've been doing this model remote for last year, and we're going to be doing that for 2021 as well. So we're doing a no contact model, which still allows residents to reduce water and energy use at home, and also still employs youth. But rather than doing a home visit, you can complete a survey online or over the phone with us. The survey takes about 15 to 20 minutes to complete and includes some questions regarding your home's existing water and energy usage. We also ask for some personal information about income and ethnicity. That's totally optional, but it's really helpful for us to get a better sense of who it is that we're serving and what kind of demographics we are reaching as to better fulfill our mission as an organization. Once the survey is completed and your eligibility is determined, Rising Sun can send an energy and water saving kit directly to your home with instructions for installation. Next slide, please. So this is just a picture of our kit. It's at about $150 value, comes with sink aerators, LED light bulbs, smart power strip, low flow shower head, and again, is at absolutely no cost. So after receiving your kit, our youth team will follow up with you just to give you some more information and resources and to make sure that everything was installed correctly. Last year, we were able to serve about 2,100 residents, and they all received kits from us, and we're looking to do about another 2,000 households this year. Next slide, please. So if you're interested, when you get a copy of these slides, which we'll be sharing at the end of the presentation, you can check out this link here, or go ahead and scan this code, this QR code, and that'll give you access to the survey. If you have any questions about the survey, you can reach out to us at this email address or at this phone number, and we can walk you through it a little bit more. And if you have any other questions about Rising Sun, you can also just contact us here. And thank you, guys. I'm going to pass it on to, who do we have next? We have Dan next.
Yes, thank you, Dante.
Alrighty.
Yes, next is Dan, who's going to tell us about East Bay Community Energy.
All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm Dan Lieberman. I'm Marketing Director at East Bay Community Energy, also an Albany resident. So thanks for having me here today. I'll provide a few overview slides and then we can hop into the Q&A. So if you're not familiar with EBCE, we're a public not-for-profit agency. We were formed by 14 local cities, including Albany and Alameda County. We launched our service 3 years ago, and we provide electric generation service to customers in those cities and in the unincorporated areas of Alameda County. And that means we're buying electricity on behalf of all of the customers in that area. That includes residential, commercial, and municipal accounts. So customers can opt out anytime, but our rates are lower than PG&E's rates, and our power is pretty clean. So not very many people opt out. We get about 95% of our customer base is receiving our service, and that's about 630,000 accounts in the area. And then as you can see on the slide, we've saved customers 26 million over 3 years. That's off of a small amount of savings that you get every month. And we donated $2 million to local COVID relief last year. That was a priority for us. We've contracted for 550 megawatts of wind and solar, including a 57.5 megawatt wind farm in Livermore. It's about to go online. I'm really excited about that. And we offer some programs that are additional to PG&E's programs, you remain eligible for PG&E's, and then you get our programs. A notable one is a $1,250 home solar and storage incentive. So let's see, next slide. So here's the way it works. EBCE is buying clean power, which is in a combination of long-term contracts, some spot market purchases, and then investing in facilities that are built to serve our customers. And then PG&E delivers the power and bills you for it, and you continue to pay PG&E for their transmission and distribution services. So if there's a power outage or anything, you still call PG&E because you're still paying PG&E for that service. PG&E is actually financially neutral about this arrangement because power procurement was never where they earned profit anyway, and you continue to pay them for the services where they do profit. So next slide. So EBCE, we offer our customers several options. Bright choice, it's like getting 1% cash back on your electricity purchases. You get a slight discount. It's a pretty green option. And then here in Albany, the city council elected to have Brilliant 100 as a default service, which is priced exactly the same as PG&E, and you get 100% carbon-free power coming from solar, wind, and hydropower. And then Renewable 100 is a slight cost premium. It's sourced exclusively from California wind and solar, and it costs maybe $4 or $5 a month for a typical Albany household. Or you can opt back to PG&E at any time. You're welcome to do that. You can also switch among EBCE's options on a month-to-month basis. If you opt out of our service and return to PG&E, you have a 1-year waiting period before you return. And next slide. So yeah, finally, I wanted to leave you just to see a bill image if you haven't seen this already. A lot of customers think that EBCE is an extra charge because you see our charge on the first page of your bill. This is the typical bill. You can see right there highlighted in blue, it's our charge. But I want to make sure everyone on the phone knows that there is also a generation credit on your bill. PG&E places that credit when you're an EBCE customer, and that's what you would have paid PG&E for the service that EBCE provides. And the credit is going to be for an Albany customer on Brilliant 100. The credit will be exactly the same amount as EBCE's charges plus the fees. So it makes your bill is to the penny going to be the same whether you're on EBCE Brilliant 100 or you're on PG&E service. But on EBCE, you get the benefit of getting 100% carbon-free power in these extra programs and such. And then also just wanted to mention, it's not on here, but I know Yessie had mentioned the care rates, making sure that customers are on those discount programs. They automatically port over. So if you're an EBCE customer and you're on care, and when you came over from PG&E to EBCE, that care benefit transferred. If you're on FARA, that benefit transferred. If you're a PG&E employee discount or a retiree and you get the discount, that automatically ported over. All of those things automatically transfer. And then the same with our TOU rates, time of use rates, or if you have an electric vehicle and you're on an EV rate, all of those same costs and benefits are the same when you're on EBCE service. So if you're on a TOUC, which is a 4 to 9 p.m. peak rate, with PG&E, you're on a 4 to 9 p.m. peak rate on EBCE. All of those rate elements remain the same. And you can get more info about that on our website. And I think that's all of my slides.
Thank you. Thank you, all of our panelists, for all that great information. And thanks for everyone who's given us questions so far in our Q&A. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A now or as they come up as we go. Chris has been hard at work answering questions as we've been going along. So thank you, Chris. And I'll just bring up a couple of these that are in here right now. Ruth has a question about heat pumps versus central gas furnaces, which I think is mostly for Chris. She's asking, whether there are rebates for people that are switching from a gas furnace to a heat pump without AC.
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one we get a lot. Just for those in the audience who aren't familiar with the heat pump, it's a alternative for a gas furnace. It's all electric, and it works like your refrigerator. It instead of creating heat, it moves heat from the outside to the inside. So they're extremely efficient, and they can actually work both ways, provide heating and cooling. So it's a really great option. To answer your question about the rebates, unfortunately, not at this time. It's at the moment, it's only available to households that have both a central furnace and air conditioning. If you don't already have AC, we can't actually provide the rebate. It's complicated. It has to do with how we get the funding from the state. And essentially, we have to prove that we're reducing the amount of energy you use. And because it's adding a cooling load, we can't prove that it'll save you energy if you're adding additional cooling. We are working on it. We actually just recently opened up eligibility to households that have a wall furnace and no AC to get the ductless mini split heat pump. And so we're working really hard to expand that to homes with a central furnace and no AC. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's not eligible. But I would recommend, if you're hopefully within a year or so or sooner, we will be able to offer that. And so in the meantime, this would be a great chance to start doing some of that installation and building envelope work so that when the time comes to get the heat pump, you're prepared for it.
Thanks, Chris. That's very helpful. This is a question, I think that's mostly for Dan, but if anyone else has thoughts, you can chime in. This is from someone who is on EBCE's Renewable 100, who wants to know if there's an advantage to installing solar panels on his house from an environmental point of view.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that there are a number of reasons why it's good to install solar on your roof, even if you're on Renewable 100. One is you can probably beat PG&E rates. You can probably get some savings, especially if you're intending to stay in your home for more than 5 years. So that's one reason. Another is resilience. You can, it's easy to pair solar with a small home storage system, and then you can use that both for resilience in the event of a power outage, or you can use it to help shift your load away from the most expensive hours. And so that's good. And even without a battery, there are a few types of inverters that in the event of an outage, you can actually just sort of, there's an outlet on there, and if the sun's shining, you're islanded off the grid and you can plug something in. So even if the environmental benefits aren't great, I think there are a lot of excellent reasons why you should consider installing solar on your roof, and I'd recommend you have the opportunity getting a few bids and seeing how they compare price-wise to what you're currently paying.
Thanks, Dan. This is kind of also in the solar world. This is someone who's asking about being paid by PG&E for net surplus solar generation on a time of use rate.
Yeah.
Time of use, you might want to explain a little bit what time of use is again for everyone.
Sure.
That's confusing too.
Yeah, and it's a timely issue because here in Albany and in the rest of Alameda County, in May, customers are being automatically transitioned to time of use rates. So if you're not already on a time of use rate in Alameda County, PG&E will default you onto something called TOUC, which charges higher rates between 4 and 9 p.m. than other hours of the day. It's not a huge difference between peak and off peak. I think we're moving to a greater differential there. Right now, I think it's a 17% difference between off peak and peak, but you can definitely save a few bucks if you can hold off doing laundry or running the dishwasher or whatever between 4 and 9. So it's best to use as little energy as you can during those hours, both for your bill and for the environment. It helps also. And then getting to the issue of solar, if you have solar on your roof that you installed in the last 6 years or so, then you are on a time of use rate, because for NEM 2, which is the rate you'd be on, it's required that you are on a time of use rate. And if you are on a time of use rate, you do accrue credits that are of higher value during peak hours. So if you're generating power during peak, those, you get, and you're generating excess, then those are stored in your account as a higher value credit. But if you complete a whole year and you get to your true up point with PG&E and you have a surplus, they will cash you out at a lower rate. So the cash out, the annual cash out with PG&E is done at a rate that's called net surplus compensation. And that is a very low wholesale rate. So even if you're sort of carrying over these high value credits, if you get to your true up point with PG&E, they will cash you out at a very low rate, as will EBCE for most customers. So there isn't a real financial benefit in trying to carry that over year to year.
Thanks, Dan. That was very helpful. This is a question that I think everyone might have some thoughts about. Matt asks if BayREN or anyone has recommendations on specific products since they are remodeling, moving to induction cooktops, heat pumps, trying to go all electric. I don't know if we can necessarily give like specific brands, but I'm interested if people have thoughts on products that are really efficient, what to look for in general. Could be larger appliances or smaller things like light bulbs. So go ahead and chime in if anyone has thoughts on that.
So
Yeah, I can start
because
since it. Oh,
go ahead.
I was just gonna mention BayREN, so I'll quickly start. BayREN, we don't have specific products that we recommend or require. We do have minimum efficiency requirements for all of our measures. And so to get the rebate, it'll have to meet those requirements. And so you'll know that you'll get something that works well just based on that. But for specific products, it varies a lot based on your budget, like how much space you have in your house. For things like induction cooktops, the electrical system in your house can make a difference. And so usually the home energy advisors are a good place to kind of get some ideas. Again, they probably won't recommend one specific model, but they might give you a couple options that to look into. And then for things like heat pumps and the larger systems, contractors are usually the most knowledgeable on that. And so I'd recommend getting quotes from 3 or 4 contractors. And if they all recommend the same thing, then that's probably the best option.
And then just to add on that, so just the whole state connection, I can't actually recommend specific brands or anything. I can tell you to just look out for the Energy Star certification on whatever you do end up installing. And then something I personally find very useful, like just around my house, is task lighting. So things like, under cabinet lights, things like that, so that because I'm one person, so just so that I can do, routine tasks with more specific lighting rather than having to turn on the lights for a whole room whenever I need to. So that's been very useful.
That's a great tip, Yessie. Anyone else have thoughts on appliances and other products? All right. Oh,
that
go ahead,
comes to
Lizzie.
mind is I know that those who do decide to electrify often very much want to talk about it with their friends and neighbors. So if you're comfortable with it, I would say feel free to reach out to your peers on social media like Facebook and Nextdoor, and I bet you will get many recommendations. So that's definitely an option as well.
And while we're here, I'll put in a little plug that Albany does have an electrification website with a bunch of resources and information at albanyca.org/electric. So you can check that out too. Let's see, we've got lots of questions coming in now. Let's see what else. Here's a question about solar. How should a homeowner interested in solar get started? Does Albany have a forum where we can learn from homeowners interested in solar, learning about lessons, thoughts about companies offering storage such as Tesla? Again, we can't get into the companies too much, but maybe we can talk a little bit about where to get started with solar. Again, you can check out albanyca.org/electric. But anyone else have thoughts on where to get started?
I guess I'll try. It's a little bit of a question that's hard to answer because as a public employee, I can't endorse a particular vendor. But I have found the all volunteer group Northern California Solar Energy Association, which is norcalsolar.org, to have good impartial info. They're not going to sell you anything. They don't sell anything. They have a great volunteer board and they can answer your questions by email. And then tactically, I recommend if people are getting solar that they take a similar approach to what was explained about getting a large appliance, which is get multiple bids. And then to me, the most important metric is what is the cost per watt installed. The watt is how much energy it can generate, when the sun is shining. And so that's an important metric. All the solar panels that you'll get should be warranted for at least 25 years, no matter what. And the inverter, maybe 5 or 10. So a reputable company that is low cost per watt. Those are a couple of good criteria, I think.
Thanks, Dan. See, we have a question about induction stoves. How is an induction stove different than an electric stove, and which is preferable? This is one I can actually take a knock at. So an induction stove is using electricity. However, it's the way that the electricity works is a little bit different. It's magnetic. And it's much more efficient that way because it sends that energy directly into the metal of your pot or pan rather than just sort of up like the average electric stove does. So in that way, it's preferable because it's more efficient with the energy. And it's also less dangerous in that it's really concentrating its heat just to the pot or pan, and it cools down much quicker. Any other thoughts on induction stoves? Anything I left out?
Just that they're really great. I have an electric resistant stove in my apartment. I unfortunately don't have choice over that. It's not great, but I've cooked on induction before, and it's awesome to cook on. It's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get used to it, no, there's probably a lot of concern about the pans. I always hear that. So not all pans work. They need to be magnetic, but basically any pan that you can stick a magnet to on the bottom will work. So cast iron, stainless steel, any of that will all work. So highly recommend induction. BayREN does offer a $300 rebate for this.
Yes, that's a great point. Thanks, Chris. Let's see, we have some questions for Dan about EBCE here. The first one is what happens to EBCE in 10 or 20 years when PG&E is 100% renewable? And number 2 is EBCE investing in local solar, PV, and wind.
Great question. I started typing and realized it was going to be such a long response. I'll try and summarize here, but the points I was getting at. One is EBCE's board adopted a more aggressive path to 100% carbon free than the state law. So I think we'll get there pretty fast. Right now, PG&E is extremely low carbon because they own Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant, which by the state is considered a zero emission facility. So about half of the power that PG&E supplies is from that nuclear facility. They were required back in the 90s to divest most of their generating assets. So they held on to Diablo Canyon and some large hydro. Everything else, they're basically going to be selling those contracts in the market. I don't know if this is too down in the weeds, but they're losing a lot of load right now because so many agencies like EBCE are being formed. They only supply power to less than half of their customers now that they serve. So I think that evolution that you're going to see of PG&E's supply is that it's going to be more and more nuclear until 2025, right? Because they're losing customers, but they're keeping the nuke plant. So it'll be, now it's at 50%, it'll probably get to 60, 70, whatever percent nuclear. And then that facility is shutting down in 2025. So I think the real question is, what power supply will PG&E have after Diablo Canyon goes away? There'll probably be a lot of large hydro and natural gas, I'm guessing. But it's hard to say. And as for what EBCE is doing, one, yeah, we're contracting as locally as we can. We have that project, a big wind project in Livermore. We've done some more boutique solar projects locally, like we have a solar rooftop at La Peña in Berkeley, and we're contracting for some other things. And then we're really moving away from just being a power supplier to running more programs and doing things around electrification of vehicles, for example, installing solar fast charging. Those are the sorts of things you're going to see from us are really programs oriented activities where we're providing incentives and infrastructure around electrification of homes, electrification of businesses, and of transit.
Thanks, Dan. That was a great answer to a complicated issue. So we have just 4 minutes left. So I just want to give everyone a chance to really quickly give any last thoughts they have on, maybe one tip or one thing that they would do to make their house much more efficient. Just really fast lightning round. So I'll start with Yessie.
I think a little known one is water is a really poor conductor. So just use tap cold. It's a common setting, tap cold or cold when you do your laundry. And that way you're not wasting energy on heating up the water. Pre-1950s, it was necessary to use hot water, but detergent formulas have since changed. So now everything gets just as clean with cold water. So there's really no need to run it hot.
Thanks, Yessie. Chris?
In terms of relatively easy things, if you haven't switched to LED lighting yet, you should do that. It pays for itself. I think just in general, we're past the point of incandescent lighting. So you should really, get to LEDs when you can. And there are some programs like Rising Sun can send you some LED bulbs, and there are other programs that can provide those for free. And then in terms of the BayREN measures, attic insulation is usually the biggest bang for your buck. It's not super expensive to install, and it can make a huge difference in your heating and cooling costs and make your home just so much more comfortable.
Thanks, Chris. Dante? Oh, Dante, you're muted.
I'm muted. Honestly, I think this laundry is the thing that I've been picking up on that I got from the last presentation, is just putting everything on cold. I really just appreciate just natural lighting. The most we can make the best out of natural lighting throughout the day, especially as we're in our homes, and finding a new cozy spot, maybe rearranging furniture so you can just sit in front of that window has been a great thing for me.
Great. And Dan? Final tip.
Yeah, I guess I would recommend all of those tips are great. So this one seems small in comparison, but getting a smart plug and or smart thermostat for your home is really helpful now, especially when we were talking about time of use rates and such. You can pick something up on the internet that comes with its own app. There's another online software service called Ohm Connect. And while we were on this webinar, I got a text message from them saying that it's an Ohm hour, whatever they call that thing, that I should conserve now. So they'll send you a little alert and give you little rewards or whatever. You don't have to use their hardware, but it's sort of a nice little app. So yeah, smart plugs and smart thermostats to use energy when it's less expensive and cleaner.
All right, thanks so much, everyone. Like I said, we will be sending out lots of resources, contact info, slides, and the recording. Feel free to reach out to any of us if we didn't get to your question, or if any other questions come up afterwards. And thanks so much for joining us tonight. We really enjoyed having you.
Everyone.